It is hard knowing the truth, that's for sure. Because when you know the truth, then then you know what the fuck you got to do. That's it. I mean, when you know what the mission is, when you know what the job is, when you know what the why is, when you know why you're doing what you're doing for a future goal that you set deep into the future. I'll give you an example of this. One of my goals is to qualify for the Boston Marathon. I've gotten somewhat close to it, and had a little setback. You get injuries along the way, and life sucks sometimes. But yeah, oh well, you got to get over it. But to qualify for the Boston Marathon, for me, is under 3 hours. Now, on the Boston Marathon website, it specifically states that even if you qualify for the Boston Marathon, even if you run under that time frame, there are still no guarantees that you can run in the Boston Marathon. You're only qualifying just to be able to register and put your name into the lotto that will eventually lead to either you being selected or not selected to participate in that year's Boston Marathon. So, and you only have a 2-year period that your qualification will last. So you have to have qualified within the last 2 years in order to run it. So for me to know that is an extreme undertaking, because every fucking little second that you shave off of that time means that you have to run faster and faster and faster for 26 miles for me. Depending on what your goal is in life, it could be anything. But, let's say your goal is financially to have $1 million or $100,000 or whatever, and you get paid, $2,000 a month. And you know that in order to get there, you have to save and invest at least 10% of your paycheck each month. Well, how long is that going to take? That's going to take a long fucking time. So when you look at the long run, and I mean the long run of a huge goal that you have, a huge undertaking, you start to realize, like, God dang, this is going to take a lot out of me. And when that starts to sink in, it's a double-edged sword, because it creates an excitement factor. Like, damn, I'm really working on something. I'm onto something. I have purpose. There's a meaning to my life. But on the other side, there's also a little suffering factor where you have to sacrifice and you have to do your due diligence and you have to pay your dues in order to stand on the podium of that success one day and say, all right, look, I achieved this. And it's not going to be given to you. In some cases it is. Some people get inherited millions. I understand that. And that's why I like physical fitness as a barometer to judge someone's character. Because if you see someone who, and I'm not saying this is true all the time, like there are really fit people who don't have great character, but usually if you see somebody who's really fit and in shape, you could at least say that their discipline is on point. And for the most part, you could probably say like their character is in line with, I don't know, their discipline is and commitment to the goal is like, you can say that it's there. And in my case, I can certainly say that. And it takes getting there. It takes undertaking the goal and understanding like how far you have to go and how hard you have to work to achieve it, to really have gratitude and understanding for the immensity of the thing. In Viktor Frankl's book Man's Search for Meaning, he there's a quote in there where he says, and it's not him, it's someone else saying it, but he's like, if you have a strong enough why, then you can endure almost any how. And that is so true. If you don't know where you're going or you don't know why you're doing something, if you get up at 5 a.m. to go to the gym and you don't really have that distant goal that you are trying to achieve, then what's the meaning behind this gym session? Like, what are you trying to quantify? What are you trying to get out of it? If you're just going to the gym to, be in better shape this summer, that's not strong enough, man. That's not big enough to enact like crazy serious change in your physical body. You can get a decent gains out of it, but it's just not a specific and measurable, attainable goal. Like, let's say if you want to save $1,000 in the next 3 months and you make $2,000 a month, well, you know that you have to spend money on groceries and pay your car payment and pay your bills and your mortgage and everything. So you have to save a certain little percent. Let's say it's like $20 out of each paycheck. Well, you can break out your calculator and do the math. How much do I have to save each month to make that goal happen in 3 months? And you can make it happen, but along the way you have to have little sacrifices, like, oh, I can't go to Starbucks and get this coffee. I can't go out to eat this many times in a month. I can't go out to Buffalo Wild Wings tonight. I'm sorry, guys. Like, you got to sacrifice in order to be able to attain that goal that you set. But if you never set the, I want to save $1,000 in the next 3 months goal, then you're never going to reach it, because there's nothing. When someone's like, hey, you want to go to Buffalo Wild Wings, or you want to go out to the club tonight, you're not going to have that reason to save the money. So of course you're going to go, you're going to spend it. And the same thing goes for the gym. If you don't have the goal to run a marathon or run a 5K or do a bodybuilding competition or, do a cycling race or do a swimming event or whatever, you don't have a goal in mind, then when someone's like, yo, it's Friday, let's go out to the bar, let's go out to the club, like, you're going to go, because there's nothing that's like speaking to your soul saying, hey, you got that little thing, you got something to do in the next 3 months, you got something to do in the next 90 days, like, watch out for that. You got to make it to the gym tomorrow. You won't have that because you didn't set the goal. So that's what I mean by the why factor. And that is so important for everyday life. Once you achieve a goal, cool, you achieved it. I've achieved goals, other people have achieved goals. But when you achieve something, then you can enjoy it for a minute. It's cool to look back at it and be like, dang, like, look how far I've come. Like, you enjoy the graduation, you enjoy the ceremony, you enjoy the plaques and the awards and the beers and the, champagne, and whoa, I won, cool. But then that's going to wear off. It will wear off so fast, and faster than you think. Like, achievement is very fleeting. It's just something that, victory is fleeting. And it flees so fast. It's almost, and then what comes after is a down. So you have to account for that down. So a lot of times people will build multiple goals into the future. That way, when they're on that down, they at least know, okay, I'm working towards this next. I'm going to take a little break. But then on my upslope, when I'm climbing that next mountain, like, I'm going to remember how this feels. I'm going to remember how good this feels and how, amazing it felt to achieve. That way, when I go up to that next higher peak, I can look back and remember, all right, it's worth it. It's worth it for sure. And, yeah, but it's important to understand that it is going to be a fucking hard road. It's not going to be an easy road. And in fact, that's the better way. It's a double-edged sword out there, because you will suffer either way. Like, I mean, if you're sitting there watching this video and you're out of shape and you're fat and you're just kind of like fucking fed up, dude, like, you are fed up, or you're in debt. Like, imagine being in debt. Being financially in debt is like being fucking fat and out of shape, like, physically, because it feels the same. It's like a hole that you're in that you have to dig yourself out of, and you have to work very hard to get out of it. And there's a lot of sacrifices on both ends. But, like, just sticking with the in shape thing, let's say you're fucking 300 pounds, like, you're overweight, you're fat, and you look in the mirror and you don't like looking in the mirror because it's just something that you don't love what you see, and you want to change it, and you're fucking fed up, dude. Like, you're suffering right there. Like, you're suffering just as much as I'm suffering while I'm working out, doing push-ups and burpees and fucking running at a fast clip, and I'm sweating and my lungs are exhausted. Yeah, you're feeling the exact same way looking in the mirror. Like, you're still suffering. You're still eating the way you don't want to eat. You're still feeling bad about yourself. Like, you're mentally exhausted. You're mentally suffering while, like, meanwhile, someone who is training is, like, physically suffering and mentally suffering at the same time. But guess what? It's that person who is training and working towards something is suffering in their own way. Like, they chose it. They chose that way. they chose that pain, and because of that, there's pride in that, man, and there's confidence in it. And when you don't choose it, the universe gives it to you by default. Everyone is going to suffer no matter what. Everyone is going to suffer equally, and that's the yin and yang of life, man, is that, guess what? You're going to suffer no matter what. You will suffer. There will be suffering, but in which way are you going to choose your suffering? And you are going to embrace your suffering? And are you going to, stand firm in your suffering? And that's why I mean, like, in previous videos where I'm like, get out in the rain. My phone overheated in the sauna. That's why I'm out here now. But yeah, I mean, basically what I was just saying is that you will suffer no matter what. So you might as well just choose it yourself. Own it. Own the harder way. And they're both going to be hard either way. Like, you could work really hard, earn money, save it and invest it and discipline yourself, and then have money for the future and not have to worry about being in debt. Or you can live wildly, use credit cards, spend your money crazily, be in debt, and also be suffering. But they're both going to feel like crap sometimes. And the same thing goes with being in shape. It's like, you're running around a track and it's fucking 35 degrees outside and you're cold and it sucks to start and your muscles are tired and it's 5 a.m. and it sucks to get up and this and that. Like, it's going to suck, right? Like, it's going to suck. But at the end of the day, like, when you're taking a break from all that stuff, when you're done with the workout and you're just chilling, like I am right now currently, like, you're going to feel good in that moment. But when you choose the other way, when you choose to neglect the workouts, to neglect the training, to just, let yourself go and you're out of shape and you're not the way you want to look and you're not the way you want to feel, you're not the person who you want to be, because that person's in there because you keep thinking about it and you're like, dang, like, I want to get to the fucking gym and get after this shit. But guess what? I got this little fucking guy in me that's telling me not to go and I'm just lazy. Well, guess what? You're still you're still suffering. So, what's the point in that? Like, what is the point in that life either? Like, but at least if you choose it, if you choose that workout way and that disciplined lifestyle way, there is meaning in that. There is no meaning in the other way. There will be no meaning in that. And because of that, you're going to suffer almost double. You're going to suffer like crazy, like kooky, because you're gonna get no value out of it. You're gonna get no value out of it whatsoever. You're just gonna be sitting there lethargic, not feeling good about yourself, and suffering all the time, and all this pleasure that you're having, like pleasure seeking. You're gonna go to okay, here's a perfect example. Is like, you're out of shape. You're not the way you want to look, and I get it. Like, hey, look, you might be watching this and be like, yo, I'm chubby and I'm happy about it. I'm out of shape. I don't care. I own it. A lot of people do. I'm not saying nothing about you, right? But I'm talking to the people out there who are out of shape and do not want to be out of shape anymore. They are fed up with it. Those are the people who I'm talking to. The people who are absolutely fed up and want to get right. And those people are, I'm telling you right now, like, you have it in you and you can change it and you can really do it. But you have to put in a lot of work and you have to, like, circle a why. What am I doing this for? You cannot do it for nothing. And it's going to take so much work, and you might as well not even fucking try it if you don't understand how much work it's going to be. And you're going to only understand how much work it's going to be once you start to undertake it and do a couple of workouts and get a couple of weeks in, and the grind starts to hit you and you're sore as fuck. And you're like, dang, like, this is a lot of fucking work. And it's like, yeah, now you know what I'm talking about. Now you know what the hell I'm talking about, where it's 5 o'clock in the morning and your legs are fucking just bricks because you fucking did a leg workout yesterday, but you got to go hit that run this morning and you got to do it again, day in, day out. And that is the type of suffering that has purpose behind it. And the pain that you're feeling today has meaning behind it. And you know what the hell you're about to get into. Like, you're like, I'm running and I'm suffering, but I know why I'm suffering. But when you're the other way, you don't know why you're suffering. You're just like, fuck, I'm doing the lazy thing. Like, I'm suffering for no fucking reason at all. And that sucks.
It sucks horribly. But when you're suffering that way, you never get a break. You never get a win because like you're out of shape. You're suffering by yourself. You're suffering in the mirror when you look at yourself. You're suffering when you hang out with your friends and you're wearing a shirt that doesn't fit right and your fucking guts hanging over your pants and it's just not looking, you're not looking good. You're not feeling it, right? Well, when you suffer in the gym and you get all the suffering out of the way up front early, then guess what? You don't got to worry about that fucking feeling when you go to the beach. You know, when you're going to hang out at the club and you got a tight shirt on and the girls are looking at you and your boys are like, bro, I wish I looked like that, man. Well, guess what? You could if you fucking just put in the work. But yeah, the situation is like, at least when you choose it and you do workouts and you choose that suffering wisely, when you choose the harder way, the seemingly harder way, you at least get a break. You at least get a little pride and confidence out of it. You at least get to enjoy yourself a little bit when you get to go to the beach and you pop your shirt off and you're like, dang, like no problems whatsoever. Everyone's looking at you. You almost feel awkward because you're like, yikes, dude, like fucking the only guy around here that looks like that. I'm the only girl around here that looks like this. And then you got all these eyes on you. You got people looking at you like, dang, like, this guy's a fucking freak. This girl's a freak. And yeah, you're a freak because not many fucking people are doing it. You're like a circus freak when you got abs popping out and your fucking chest is swole as shit and your biceps are going like, yeah, like it's like you look kind of freaky because no one else is fucking like that, you know, except in small circles. When you go to like a fitness expo or something, but then you got like most of the dudes and I'm not gonna say most of the dudes are walking around like using fucking steroids and shit, and that's just the wrong fucking way. So if you're out there watching that shit and you're like, you know, which way do I go? Do I go the PEDs route? Do I go the steroids route? Do I go the clean route? Always go the clean route, man. Always go the clean route. Do not go with that. You don't need to stick anything in your arm. You don't need protein powder. You don't need pre-workout. You don't need anything. All you need is good old water, food, and the gym. That's it. And the streets where you go hit a run. But you don't need, to achieve goals, you do not need any of that stuff. I get it. Like if you want to suck down a protein shake, cool. But don't make it your life. You know, don't make it like, don't turn it into I need this, because you don't need this. Like you really don't need anything except for some drive and determination to achieve a goal. That's all you freaking need. So keep that in mind when you're out there grinding, all right?